Hi all, welcome to another video on the invoice adjustment in the accounts receivable area. So today we will be focusing on the profile options that are applicable for the AR invoice adjustments. So we have three profile options. I would say two profile options and then one key setup, which will impact or determine how the invoice adjustment works in the application. First one that I'm going to discuss is about a require adjustment reason. Now let me go to the system. I've logged into the system. We will go to billing. We create a transaction for our adjustment testing purpose. Business unit US one I selected. So rest of the things came out and I'm giving the customer a description of $100 is the invoice amount that we are going to use. Complete and review. And $9 of tax is also applicable. So total document total is now 109. Now let's go and try to create the adjustment. To manage adjustment, clicking on plus icon. The profile option, the adjustment reason, is governed for this particular field. Right now, we can see that the adjustment reason is of non-mandatory. Even without giving this particular reason anything, I can simply go ahead and do this adjustment. Say like $1 I'm doing. Click on submit. This is going to get approved. I haven't provided any reason. So we can see it has been created and the status is approved. Now I'll open this profile option setup side by side. Let me go to the I'm going to setup and maintenance. Financial offerings and then keying in receivable profiles. So receivable profile options. You can search with either profile option code or the profile display name for the adjustment require adjustment reason. Let me key in few characters for the setup. I'm giving in the display name require adjustment reason. So we got this profile option. The profile option code is AR require adjustment reason. Now, currently the profile option value at the site level is no. That's why it was non-mandatory when we created the adjustment in the application. I'm going to make it as yes and save. Also, I'll show what are the other level that is applicable. We should be having only site and user level. This is done by site and a particular user whenever he wants to do, we can have that enabled at that level. For our testing purpose, now I'm using at the site level. So I made the site level value as yes and I saved. Now let's go back to the adjustment creation UI. Now you can see the field has become mandatory, and without this we will not be able to submit the adjustment. I'll show that. adjustment, say -1. Without giving a reason, I'm trying to submit it. It is not going to submit. So I have to select something. I will select small amount remaining and submit it. Now it got created and approved. So by using that profile option require adjustment reason, we can control whether a reason is required or not. It's always a business decision, but it is better to have the adjustment reason always populated. Now, this is the one that we created just now. Now, another thing, so we enabled the profile option, adjustment reason came in. Obviously, now what are the list of values and how we, if want to include the custom business requirement reasons, right? So for that one, we will go into another setup, that is the lookup. This is governed by a lookup code. So let's go back and we will go to the setup and maintenance again. Here we will see receivable lookups, manage receivable lookups. So the lookup type, let me come back, adjust reason, that is the code. Adjust reason. So this is the values that are getting displayed. Meaning is the one that will be displayed in the application. So I'll just add one value, say demo testing, and reference data set common. So common. Then comes the meaning is demo testing. Save. Now we'll go again and try to create the adjustment. So we made the reason mandatory, and now I think we'll have to come back and save again. Let me save and close here. It didn't come. Okay, we'll come back. I'm just logging down. The invoice number, let me go back or sign up and log in again. Let me try before without signing out. Ideally, signing out is not required, but let's see. Manage adjustments. Okay, still not coming. Let me sign out and sometimes the values or the setups to be reflected as sign out and signing is required. Receivables, billing. Searching for the transaction number. Manage adjustment. Creating a new one. Still our demo test has not yet come. Let me go and see what we missed there. Adjust reason. Demo testing is enabled. Only the start date is missing from others. Actually, start date is not mandatory in the lookups. Not less, I'll just give some value. So, set. Now, okay. It is because of the date value that we haven't provided, there was an issue. So now the demo testing, what we added in that particular lookup has come here. So whatever the business values required, that can be added in that lookup and can be populated for the adjustment reason. Okay, we'll move on to the next profile option, that is override adjustment activity account allowed. We will go ahead and see what is the current setup of it, and then we'll see what it really looks in the application. Going to see the profile options. Receivable profile I'm searching. Here we have the override adjustment activity account. Override. The symbol names will be the display name. Adjustment. The code will be always in the caps with underscore to ensure there is no space in between. Okay. So the profile option, this current setup is at site level. No. Now let me go to the application and tell the significance of this setup. So here, when we are creating the adjustment activity, you can see the transaction distribution is now disabled. Now, what really governs the transaction distribution is the receivable activity setup. I haven't shown this setup on the receivable activity. We will have another video for that one. The moment I select the receivable activity, there is a code combination or the distribution that is tied to this particular setup, which gets auto-populated. So this is the account where in a normal invoice scenario, if you are adjusting a negative, then this is the account that is getting debited, and the contra entry is the receivable that is getting credited. Now, there will be certain cases where business wants to edit this particular distribution. Say in order to charge or this particular adjustment into a different division or department of product on a case-to-case basis. So for that one, there will be a requirement that this particular distribution has to be enabled for adjustment. Now, we will come back to this and make the profile option as yes. Save. Come back. Click on cancel. Okay. See now, the moment I enabled the profile option, said that it should be editable. Now it is coming as user can enter. So receivable activity is still a must, enter it, but we have the option now to change the account. Say we want a different product into financials. Click on OK. So we can still go ahead and with this kind of changes. The adjustment or enabling this particular feature depends upon how we want the users to have a control on this one. We want to have a pure control that users should not select any random code or anything. It is better to disable it. But if the business requirement is that the user should be able to adjust depending upon the code combination that they want, we can enable this feature. It took some time, line adjustment, and we will go with another -3 to make it. And reason is a must now. Put demo testing. We can post it to a different account. Okay, this is now coming as regional sales, none. If we go with the, we have the financials populated. Okay, moving on to the next setup. This is next one is not really a profile option, but it is a setup that is at the transaction type level. So let me go to the transaction type. So here the transaction type that we were using to create the invoice is invoice. So let me open that particular setup. Save and close here. Transaction type. So manage transaction types on the customer billing functional area. We will search for our transaction type, that is invoice. Okay. So here now the natural application only is enabled. I'm going to deselect it first so that our over application checkbox is now enabled to check or uncheck. So right now the current setup is over application is unchecked. Now, if over application is unchecked, what it really means is that, see right now our invoice total is of 109, and if we go to our adjustment area, we already adjustment it to 5. Now suppose I'm going to adjust this particular invoice to more than 109. The customer is initial billing happened for $109, but I'm going to adjust it in such a way that say like -200, right? So that means now the company has to pay to the customer rather than customer has to pay to the company. Okay, we'll put it like this, submit. So system will not allow to do this one based on that particular transaction type setup. Over application is not allowed. If it is on the positive side, there is no limit how much ever we can, because we want the money from the customer and system will allow. But if the over application checkbox is unchecked, then we cannot adjustment such that the document total or sign is getting reversed. It will not allow. Now I'll go ahead and change this setup part again into over application is allowed. So now we have enabled the over application. Okay, save. We will go ahead and create the adjustment. Now I'm going to clean the same -200, providing adjustment reason, submit it. System allowed this time. So this particular over application setup, if we enable, the system, will allow us to do so. And if over application is not enabled, we will not be able to do like reversing the sign altogether of the document. So it's always recommended practice is allow our application as unchecked, but on a case to case or a business scenario requirement, we can enable this particular setup. So we discussed two profile options and one transaction type setup, that is determine how the adjustment behaves in the screen or the application. For any queries, write to kastechnosolutions@gmail.com. We'll come with another video on the adjustment. Thank you.